Welcome back to Autoimmune Adventures. I'm Becky, and I'm here with my sisters, Stacy and Alicia. And today's episode is going to be deeply moving, especially if you have that intersection of chronic illness and faith in your life, because there's a question that often doesn't get asked enough, as in what happens if you believe in God, but your body doesn't heal? Or if you have people, even well-meaning people, telling you things like maybe you're not praying enough or your faith isn't strong enough. Our guest today knows that tension and understands it. He lives with end-stage renal disease, and he's on dialysis while waiting for his second kidney transplant, and he is the author of Not Healed, Not Abandoned. He's not just living with illness, he's living with purpose, resilience, and a mission to transform how we think about chronic illness and trauma in medical spaces. Brent, we are so grateful that you're here with us today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So good to have you. Let's start with your book.
Okay.
Not Healed, Not Abandoned. I love that title.
Mhm.
What inspired you to write specifically for people in the chronic illness community, people that maybe feel misunderstood or judged in their faith communities?
I've been in ministry for, 25, 30 years, lots of sermons. And I forget, I was reading something that said, hey, turn your sermons into books. And so I'm like, I have 100 of them. Easy. And so I was just kind of thinking about some issues that I was dealing with and something that would line up. And then that thought came into my mind, like, man, like, I really do feel like there's people that feel like me sometimes that are wondering, like, where's Christ in my healing? See, like I said, I've been in ministry a long time, and there's sometimes I've legit prayed for people, laid hands on people, and they have healed right there in front of me. And then I still got to go to dialysis the next day. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, all right, God, like, you know what I'm saying? Did you skip over me? But I've had that happen so many times that I'm sure I wasn't the only one who was going through that. And then now that I put the book out and a few people have read it, and the sentiment is the same. Like, yeah, like, we don't know how to feel. We don't know how to act. We don't know what to do. We just smile and nod, even though people are saying things that are a little insensitive. They mean well, but they're insensitive. And so I'm like, man, like, the book is for them so they can know that, like, through this experience, like, I have really got to know Christ in a very unique way, more than I have if this happened and had never had happened. So, like I said, I've been in ministry a while. And one time, I'm a musician. So, I was one time, my friend asked me, we were at church, and he said, hey, I need you to sing this song right before the preacher gets up, because the singer that's here, and didn't sing a lot. Like, I would just sing every now and then because I was mainly on the drums or the keyboard. And so I got up, I remember singing this song, and, like, I don't know. I felt like, you ever had like an out of a body experience, and you float out and you're looking at yourself like, look at you. And so that was one of those moments. And, like, we were walking back to after the song, and he was like, what was that? I'm like, what do you mean, what was that? It's like, you turned into a totally different person. Like, I don't even know who you are anymore. And I said, I don't know, man. I was just singing. I really felt like I tapped into my pain that day, because I just got back from the hospital after I got diagnosed with kidney disease for the first time. And so that was my first time to actually do like a performance at the church. And I felt it. And so, yeah, so I really feel like I really learned who Christ was in a different way. And I wanted people to know that was possible, versus Christ is far away. No, he's near. Just may open your eyes a little bit and kind of see what he's actually doing in your life. So, yeah, that's what inspired me to write it.
We talk about Christ more often in terms of he can save us from our sins, which is absolutely true. And we rely on him for that, and we rely on his grace. What we don't talk about as often, and which we should talk about more often, is the power of relying on him day to day through illness, through trials, through betrayals, through sadness, through pain, all of these things that we have to experience in our mortal life, the things that he also experienced in the garden while he was suffering. We talk more about him saving us from our sins And I don't think we talk enough about him being our companion through our daily struggles in life.
Hmm. Yeah, or even like we talk about him as a deliverer or a conqueror or somebody that can help us out with miracles and signs and wonders. And, you know, one day when I was younger, in my early 20s, I wanted $2 to buy some chips with my sandwich because you can't have a sandwich without chips. I mean, come on. And so I was bummed out that I didn't have the money, and I found $2 on the floor right then, and I went and bought me some chips. And so stuff like that Christ does because He loves us. And so sometimes we just focus on these little bitty things, and just think that's all He's here for. But yeah, it's more. It's He's more. He's a companion. He's your strength when you're weak. He's comfort when you need to be comforted. He's a friend when you don't have anybody to talk to. So yeah, he's so much more than just, okay, I can do good stuff for you.
Yep.
I agree. I think that a lot of our listeners find themselves feeling at a loss for that pain that hits you when you're ill, and you know that there are no guarantees. Now, the irony, of course, being that in life there never are any guarantees as
Mhm.
far as like what our bodies will do, what can happen to us, those things. I mean, when we look at things from a standpoint of Christ and the love that He has for us, we know He's got us no matter what happens here. But we still have to survive what happens here, right?
Mhm.
So here we are with all of these people that listen to our podcast. And I've had a lot of people say, what do you do when you're having a crisis of faith and you're saying to yourself, it's not my fault that I'm here? Is it that I'm not praying enough? Because I've actually had people say those words to me. It's your fault. You've done something wrong. You must have
Mhm.
sinned in some way or you're not praying enough. So what would you want someone who's been through that to hear?
Well, so if somebody, because I hear it all the time, crisis of faith, like, how do I believe Christ when I'm disappointed that He didn't turn the situation around for me? How do I deal with my crisis of faith? First, I always encourage people that Christ is big enough to deal with your doubt. One of my favorite stories to talk about is Thomas, right? Thomas was, he was 10 toes deep disciple and rode with Jesus everywhere they went. But then like when Jesus got hung on the cross and died, he was like, man, I'm out. But all the disciples are like, He's here. And Thomas is like, nope, I got to see this. But Christ loved him enough to show up and say, Thomas, come here, touch my hands, touch my scars. And so Christ is big enough, and He hears you, and He will show up to show Himself real to you in a way that will blow you away. And so I just encourage people, number one, it's okay. It's hard to have that crisis of faith. Tell God your struggles. Tell God that you're doubting. Tell God that I don't know. Tell God that I'm struggling to believe. Tell Christ that He's not going to be mad. Not going to be disappointed. He's going to hear you, and He loves you enough to hear you, see that you're doubting, and to meet you in your doubt. It's the thing that like people don't understand. Like Christ knows that there's times where it's tough, because Christ, it was tough for Him to go to the cross. I mean, He didn't go like, skipping and like jumping and dancing. You know what I'm saying? He cried like they said blood, you know what I'm saying? And so, uh, yeah, He didn't want to go to the cross, but He knew He needed to for us. And so He understands that crisis. So there's a scripture that says that everything that we've gone through, He's gone through, right? Every temptation that we suffered, He suffered. And so I would tell people he's kind of felt what you felt. So it's okay to feel that way. And just keep praying, and eventually He's going to show you Himself real, and you're going to understand. So yeah, that's what I would tell them. Just, it's okay. It's cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. I think that will soothe a lot of souls, because I have talked to a lot of people who are saying, my friends are telling me it's all my fault. And I'm like, it's not what Christ would tell you.
But yes, but that's the kind of things that people deal with. I'm working on a training with church leaders, and it's called SIT. It's called Sit with People Who are Chronic Illness. It's called See the Person, Invite the Story, and Turn them to Hope. But in my research, I found 5 phrases that people use for chronic illness that's offensive. The first one is they tell people that God is trying to show you something. Okay, that's true, right? But when you don't tell somebody that when they're going through it. You know what I'm saying? And because one thing that I found out about autoimmune, because you guys are autoimmune systems, and I've never heard of autoimmune. Now I have it when I'm on transplant medication, but I didn't know like all of the ways it branches and the pain and the causes and early arthritis and all that stuff. And I didn't know you guys were in so much pain, right? I didn't know that. And so why would you tell somebody that you're in so much pain, but this pain is supposed to teach you a lesson? I'm just like, and I've said it. That's why it hurt my heart, because I've said it. Even though I've learned lessons through this, it's still a very insensitive thing to say. And I won't go through all 5 of them, but another one was me and my coworker were talking about this today. The line, well, call me if you need something. That puts the pressure on them to reach out to me. And I know they're in need, but I put the pressure on them to reach out to me when they need help. Versus let me just, I don't know, put gas in your tank, or here's a thing, a Walmart gift card, or let me buy you some hamburger meat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like I'm
Yeah.
working through a lot of these things, like, man, like there's a lot of things that we just say just to make we try to make them feel better, but it's just making us feel better, and they're not feeling any better at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, there needs to be. I feel like I put another fire in my heart to really like teach church leaders really how to sit with people with chronic illness.
That's what Christ would do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what Christ would do.
I think
Mhm.
it's very important. I love that you're doing that. One of the other things that we saw that you said that I also love a lot, you said chronic illness just means Christ is chronically present. And I just love that. Can you kind of unpack that for what it would be to people in day-to-day life, for maybe people that are struggling to understand how Christ would be with them always?
Well, I feel like when we're chronic illness, we're so focused on the negative all the time because the way we feel. Like take me for example. Like some mornings when I wake up after the day, because I do dialysis at night, and then when I wake up, I'm extremely nauseous every single time, and the nausea medicine makes me drowsy. So I'd rather just get it over with so I can go about my day. And so I was literally fighting today for strength to get up. I was called into work, and I'm fighting the whole time, right? And so sometimes when we have that mindset, we see everything that's negative. We see all of the losses. Okay, I don't feel very good. This is not going very well. This is going very well. Versus looking for the wins. Like so, I talk about in my book, the power of resurrection. Power of resurrection is, I call it the win in Christ. Like when you find $20 in your wallet that you forgot about, or your purse, you dig into, oh, I don't know, I had 20. Stuff like that. Those are the wins. But like there's like God does things, little bitty things that we just ignore when we're not feeling very well. And so I like to tell and turn people's perspective around to say, look at all the things that you can do. Look at all the things that's happening. Even though I wasn't feeling very good and I was nauseous, I still got in my truck that I love, that I just got last year. I drive to work to a job that I absolutely love. And I'm around coworkers who really care about me and check on me, have great conversations, be able to make a difference in the family's life today. Because without us, their 16-year-old would have been in danger of getting beat up at the shelter. So we put him in our apartment to kind of keep him safe. So I get that blessing and the thrill of helping somebody else. I have a wife, I've been married for 27 years. I have a great marriage. She doesn't throw things and cuss me out. Yeah, and she lets me give her hugs, and so like I'm blessed. I have 2 beautiful kids, and so sometimes like we have to like stop and say, man, God is doing so much in my life. Like there's a lot of things going right. Yes, okay, I have end-stage renal disease. I'm waiting on a transplant. My fistula, this thing that they use, is getting big and it's getting makes me nervous. I have a hernia that's right here that I might have to get looked at. There's a lot of things wrong with Brent, but there's a lot of things right with Brent. You know what I'm saying? So if I sit here and focus on like, oh my God, my fistula is getting on my nerves. Oh my God, I'm nauseous again today. Oh my God, this is going wrong. Versus like, man, like I'm blessed to get to drive to work in my truck. I like driving with I never had a V8 before. It's like, man, I can get here quicker.
Well,
So
you
yeah,
know, they've done so many studies that show that gratitude is a huge, huge benefit for people that are sick. And it sounds almost counterintuitive, like you said, when you're sick all the time, to be like, well, what do I have to be grateful for? But I think there's a reason, like when people go to counseling and stuff, that a gratitude journal is a very common thing that they encourage. And they encourage you to not write the same thing every day. It's like specifically start looking. And I think from a religious perspective, I know on a personal level that when I start looking, like you said, I can see those little things. I can see God's hand in my life in little and big ways when
hmm
I find that I, am looking for it. So
hmm
thanks. I think that's a great way for people to
So
bring it into daily practice.
my next question then would be, how did your diagnosis of end stage renal disease, how did that reshape your relationship with faith and like your identity and purpose?
So how did it reshape my identity? Because it definitely did. Because before your diagnosis, like is my life was going exactly the way I wanted it to go. I finally got a job at a church where I was a worship pastor. I was doing what I loved. It was a little stressful, but still though, I loved it. I loved getting to arrange music and train bands and teach singers and so when my diagnosis happened, like I'm like, oh my God, like what I've been working for, I was only 32, but still though, I was like, what I've been working for all this time is like about to blow up in my face because I'm too sick to do it. And so I was super concerned about that. So how it reshaped me was I became more grateful. Like we talked about gratitude. I really became more grateful for the opportunity because I almost lost it. First, I had to adjust my schedule because of dialysis a little bit. And the great thing, I worked at a church. It wasn't like a corporate job where I was come in. If I wanted to work from home, I can work from home. Pastor didn't care as long as everything was taken care of. So that they were accommodation, but like I got grateful of what I was doing. But it also kind of like made me realize that I really legit need Christ. I really legit need Him. Um, because yeah, just there's some days I didn't have the energy. There's some days I didn't have the strength. There's some days I was just super tired. Some days I would have to lay down after because I would do dialysis in the morning. Then I would get up and have to go to work, to church, and then have choir rehearsal later on that day. And I think there was some time my primary care doctor said, just take a nap. Like lay down somewhere, take a pillow, take a 10, 15-minute nap to recharge. And I just start doing stuff like that. And so, yeah, so I literally, how it reshaped me, to answer your question, it literally like made me trust in Him for strength. Because you when you have it and when you need it and you don't have it and you need it and you get it from Him, you're like, okay, yeah, good. I can depend on Him for strength. But also like it redefined my purpose. So, okay, so let me fast forward a little bit. So when I got diagnosed, and then I went about 4 or 5 years just kind of dealing with the diagnosis, but my health was deteriorating because I started getting hopeless. I started getting depressed because I stopped going to the bathroom. I stopped standing up to go to the bathroom because dialysis cleans all that stuff out. It hit me and I got depressed because they were telling me, hey, Brent, you can get a transplant, but you have to lose 150 pounds. Well, if you're on dialysis, like you don't have the energy to do much of anything. How are you going to get the energy to exercise and lose 150 pounds? So that seemed like a huge uphill battle. But it wasn't until like I found my purpose It wasn't until like somebody sat me down. Like I found a life coach. His name was Mark DeMoss. Shout out to Mark DeMoss. Uh, but he was my life coach, and he made me realize he wanted me to write down my strengths, and he had me take the Strength Finder test. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. He wrote a curriculum about how to discover your inner strengths. And then once I discovered that, I realized that, man, I'm a very good communicator. I know how to put a couple of sentences together. I can keep people's attention. So I should do this for a living. And so that's what like really like pushed me to really get out there and do it and turn my life around, to start exercising and not eating so much, counting calories, actually listen to my dietitian at the clinic tell me how to lose weight. I actually started listening to her, and I lost like 112 pounds in 1 year. But that helped me define my purpose, because I didn't think I had a purpose, because I thought my purpose was just being sick. My purpose is just going to dialysis, going home and taking care of children. I didn't know it was how much a global thing like it is now. And so now that I found that purpose, like on days when I don't feel like pushing, on days I'm like, God, I have a purpose. Help me power through these obstacles today. Then I drive to QT, get my Celsius, and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what really helped me. Just understanding my purpose, knowing what God put me here on this earth, and since He gave me the purpose, He's going to give me the strength to keep doing it.
Well said.
And I think we'd all agree with that, because I know we've talked more than once about, we feel like our podcast, and there's a couple of other things we're working on community-wise and long-term goals that we feel like are our purpose. And I can definitely say there have been days where I'm well, like I was telling you earlier, Brent, we've had days where all three of us are sick, or we're not feeling good, we're not whatever, and we still get on and do the podcast because that is important to us. That's our purpose, like you said.
And it's reality.
Yeah.
Right. It is our purpose. It is what drives us, and we have a passion for it, and we know God's called us to do it. But we also have to be very real. Some days we're not going to feel good. Some days we're going to look like garbage. Some days we're going to be exhausted, but we're showing up.
Right. Right. And that's the thing that like the world doesn't celebrate. The world, they love announcements when you announce stuff, but the discipline, not so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To quote one of my sorry, I know we're talking about spiritual stuff, but one of my favorite rappers, Lil Wayne, real G's move in silence like lasagna. So sometimes you just have to do things in silence over and over and over and over and over again that nobody sees. And all of a sudden, like, oh my God, like, girl, overnight success. No, we just been moving in silence.
Yes.
And so that's what we have to do. And that's what like you guys are doing. You guys are making a lot of noise, and there's some things that you people that don't see that you're doing. And one day people are going to stumble on you, be like, oh my God, like, and like, yeah, we've been doing this for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so please keep it up. But yeah, but that's what motivates me. Like every day, I add value to others. And even if like, you know, my friend calls me that works at Caesars to change his brand, we had to close down shop. If I'll figure out something else where I get to add value to others, and I still feel like I'm fulfilled and doing my thing. So once you know that what your heartbeat, what God put on the inside of you, you can take this and do it anywhere. But yeah, I'm praying that man, that you guys really, you know, do some things. The podcast is the new media.
Yeah.
Podcast is how people really learn the information. You guys are talking about some cool stuff. So I'm glad to be a part.
And we're happy that you're here.
Mhm.
I know that you talk about how important it is to celebrate the small wins that we have in life.
Mhm.
That maybe they seem mundane to other people, but to those of us with chronic illness, they're not mundane. They're miracles,
Mhm.
some of those small wins. So why is that mindset, do you think, so important to someone who is living with chronic illness and is just trying to get through the day?
Because nobody gets anywhere with a negative mindset. I haven't known anybody that accomplished anything huge with a negative mindset. Positive mindset is usually the way to go. Now, I haven't got a degree in my social work yet, but Like if I can pick a bandwagon to wave or a flag, it will be the positive psychology, because strength-based youth development and positive psychology is what I use all the time because that's what saved me. So one of the things that saved me was my life coach said, because came to him and I thought I had a food addiction. I was probably 400 and some pounds, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going to lose this weight. There's no way I'm going to be able to get off dialysis." And so I thought maybe he'll help me with my food addiction. He actually told me, "You just have it in the wrong context. Food is God created food. You just have it in the wrong place." And so he said, "What I want you to do, let's not worry about losing weight right now. Let's just talk about losing weight." And so I want you to go home and write down 10 things you will gain when you lose. 10 things that you will gain when you lose this weight. Let's focus on that for like a month. And that's all we did. We would go over my list of, okay, I want my kids were little, want to be able to wrestle with my son. No, I want to be able to go swimming without a shirt on. I want to be able to, the church I worked at, in order for me to preach, I had to wear a 3-piece suit or a 2-piece suit. I had to wear a suit. And so I wanted to look really good in a suit versus like an oven. All that fabric and put like an oven. And so yeah, I wrote all these things down. We just focused on all the things that I would gain when I lose. And that's what turned my mind around to possibilities. That's what made me think like, man, like if I get the salad at Chick-fil-A versus 2 sandwiches and the fries, man, I probably can like get a suit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what made me like start like making like small like changes and like little bitty small win. My very first thing, I mean to get on food, but I'm sorry. But the very first win that I did was I went to Wendy's and I didn't put bacon on my burger and I didn't upsize my fries. I wrote it in the book. I literally thought I was gonna die. When she slid my tray over and I saw that little bitty small thing of fries, I'm like, today's the day I'm going to starve to death. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm used to getting like, the bucket of fries, you know what I'm saying? So, but like those are the small wins that added up to like, okay, well, how about I don't even eat fries anymore. I don't have to have that. I can get the kids meal. I can go to Chili's and order off the kids menu and just tip the guy a little bit more, stuff like that. I can do stuff like that because, and then like I'll feel better for it. So those are the small wins that people see me now. Oh, you're so disciplined, man. This was years and years of making small decisions over and over and over again. Now it's second nature. I love my mom is 75 and she is a lifetime Weight Watchers member. And to this day, she will always order the turkey burger. She was always make that smelly, stinky turkey bacon. She's always, that's just her diet. She always has something green on her plate every single time. I'll make mom some barbecue baked chicken and baked beans, and she'll still open up a can of green beans because she has to have something green on. But that's what's been drilled in her for 75 years. And so all that started with little bitty wins. And so that's why I teach people like with chronic illness, like there's a lot of little bitty things that you can do. Big shots became big shots because they were little shots and they kept on shooting. So you just have to keep on like doing little bitty things after little bitty things. And that's how things add up. That's how things get bigger. So that's what I would tell them. Just to start with this one guy today that he texted me while I was on the phone with you guys. He's a photographer. And I'm like, so how often do you take pictures every day? No. I'm like, wow, you're a photographer. You got a camera, don't you? Yeah. You got kids, don't you? Yeah, take a picture of your kids every day. You got a digital camera, brother. You should be taking 100 pictures a day. So that's how you get, because that's what you can do. He was talking about, well, I can't do this. We're limited here. I said, but you got a camera. Go outside, take a picture of a tree. So anyway, there's sometimes like I teach people what they can do. Look for what's in front of you. What can you do? You guys are spread out all over the United States. We want to have a podcast. You got to do it on Google Chat. Is this what this is? Google Chat? Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry. But you guys figured it out. You know what I'm saying? You didn't make an excuse and make it difficult and make Alicia move all the way down here to Texas to sit with y'all. Y'all figured it out. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so sometimes they have to start out small and then they'll get bigger.
It's true.
Well, I know I was going to say, I know for myself, I have a hard time getting excited about exercise. I know it's
Mhm.
good for me. I don't mind going for walks and things, but exercise is tough. But I had somebody suggest to me, so you can't get motivated to do like a 30 or 40-minute routine, but what if you did this small exercise or that small exercise while you're waiting for things in the microwave, while you're cooking dinner
Mhm.
and standing at the stove? Just these little moments. And like you said, the little wins are important because especially if you're chronically ill and you're feeling like I'm tired all the time. How can I do this? How can I do that? It's because you start small because you probably will quit if you try and start big when you don't have the energy to begin with.
Well,
Yeah.
and those little wins, like you said, Brent, they add up to big wins, right, over time. But not only do they do that, but they also create sustainable lifestyle change. You
Mhm.
build it into your lifestyle. You condition yourself to live that way. That becomes part of who you are over time.
Mhm.
And that does take a lot of little wins. It's not some big change that happens. That doesn't work that way for any of us. It's always going
Mhm.
to be those little things, those little wins that we have to celebrate and keep up that create sustainable life change that's going to help us be healthier.
Yeah, James Clear wrote the book Atomic Habits, and that's what he talks about. Like
Yeah.
atomic habits, like this it's the little bitty habits. You just stack habits on top of it. Like if you want to read your Bible, but every day you brush your teeth, put your Bible by your toothbrush. Little
Mhm.
bit of stuff like that, the way you can habit stack. So yeah, I mean, yeah, little bitty wins add up. And one thing that I do every morning is I make my bed. And I just started doing that last year. I stopped making my bed out of rebellion because my mom is. I'm grown. I have to make my bed every morning. And so I went probably like 30 years without making a bed. But I listen to Mel Robbins and she talked about how to start your day and make your bed, drink water, do a couple of things that I just do. And I started making my bed. I'm like, you know what? That is a win. Like I feel like I accomplished something. And I did it this morning. Well, I wasn't even feeling that great, but like I did it this morning. I'm like, see, you can still push through it. You can still conquer, do good things. And I go to therapy at least once a week. My job offers free therapy, so I took advantage of it. And my therapist told me she have to read these mantras every morning. And one of my mantras is I'm built to do hard things. And so I'm about ready to start the process of starting a Hope Bridge, which is a nonprofit that's going to cover training in dialysis clinics, plus my mentor program called My Shoes Mentors. And I'm thinking about going to get that started. And I almost started hyperventilating, like, I don't know how to do an LLC. I don't know how to file the paperwork. I'm like, Brent, are you really going to be doing? I really started to get that heavy knot in my chest, and then I'm like, realize, Brent, you can do hard things. I'm like, okay, because I'm kind of already doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, you are.
I'm already doing trainings in dialysis clinics. I'm already like mentoring dialysis patients. I might as well just create a nonprofit and really make it like nationwide. So who knows?
That leads perfectly into my next question for you about your training that you're doing in dialysis clinic. You've done trauma-informed care training, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What
Yes, ma'am.
what are hidden ways that trauma shows up in patients that they might not realize?
Oh man, there's 5 ways it shows up in trauma patients: emotional numbness, hopelessness, skipping and refusing treatments or shortening them, distrust and anger. And I've experienced all 5 of them. When I first, emotional numbness really hit me hard after I lost my kidneys the first time after my transplant failed, because like man, I worked so hard to get the first transplant, like a lot, like 13, 14 surgeries. I had to have like plastic surgery to remove all of the excess weight that I lost right here in my midsection. I got so many staph infections and so many this and that. I can go on, just to get the transplant right. I finally get the transplant, and 5 years later, I'm back at dialysis. And so emotional numbness hit me kind of hard. Because I didn't want to feel, and at the time I lived in Arlington, and I picked a clinic that was 20 minutes away from me because I didn't want to have to answer questions about why are you back? Like, what happened? I thought you got a transplant. After asking, oh, what happened? Well, I didn't want to have to deal with any of that. So I went to a way far away where I didn't have to answer any questions. Every time I would go, I would just shut people out and do my work. I would give real short answers. I was probably rude to the social worker and stuff like that. So I had to apologize when I left. So, because I was just so shut down because I didn't want to feel, because I was just so upset that I was back at dialysis. So I've experienced emotional numbness. I've experienced hopelessness when I realized that, like, I didn't urinate anymore. I've experienced distrust. I feel like they were just making money off of me. The anger of having to show up to dialysis. Never really skip treatments because when I miss dialysis, I feel like I don't feel good if I miss. So I'm showing up, but still. Some days I want to cut it short. Yesterday was a pretty day. It was cold, but my wife was at home and she was making something. I wanted to go home and eat with her, and I was like, "Do not want to go to dialysis today." But yeah, and so yeah, that's how it shows up in my training that I do. Is I'm talking to techs and nurses and dialysis staff on what they see, because a lot of times, behavior that they see is always something underneath. People are acting a certain way because of something that they're dealing with. And so I'm just trying to teach them that and ways to address it. Now, in a 30 or 40-minute training, there's no way I can really unpack trauma-informed care, and they're going to be great social workers to be able to do motivational interviewing. And so the key is to give them something practical that they can use right there on the floor. So I created this thing called CRG, Connect, Reflect, Guide. Connect, reflect, guide. So let's say me, for example, I have a problem dealing with fluid, right? I'm supposed to for the weekend, I'm supposed to do like 3 kilos over the weekend. I did 7. I'm
You were
sorry, I was
thirsty.
thirsty. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is probably not helping
It's
any.
Texas.
Yeah. So I did 7 kilos in a weekend. I was like, oh my God. And so anyway, what normally happens is the charge nurse comes over there and gives me a lecture. One charge nurse, not this clinic though, when she was like, you're tearing up your heart. It's irreversible damage that you're doing to your heart. You really need to watch your food, Mr. Butler, and say that and just walk away. Well, yeah, I'm not going to respond to that. Like, she's just reprimanding me. And so I teach them to say, connect with the person first. Say something like, looks like fluid control is hard for you. I see that you're struggling. Connect with the person first. Looks like, sounds like. Looks like you're having a hard time. Sounds like you're having a hard time at this. You can use that with anything. When your kid is upset about, they lost their AirPods. Looks like you're upset because you lost your AirPods. Yes. Then you repeat back the emotion, reflect the emotion back to them. I see that this is really making you upset. Yes. Well, let me give you a different set of headphones, or let me give you some resources on how to control your fluid, or let me put you in front of somebody that can really help you, versus correcting first. Because I say, if you're correcting before you're connecting, you're ending up for a collision. Because our brains are always built to fight. They're built to defend themselves. And then in motivation interviewing, they teach you this thing called right reflex. So I know that I know I need to probably stop drinking energy drinks. I know they're not that great for me. Now I drink Celsius. They said that's supposed to be healthy. But anyway, I know it's not that great. I know it. Right. But if you tell me, hey, Brent, you really need to stop drinking energy drinks, I'm going to think of 15 compelling reasons why I need to. You know what I'm saying? And everybody does that. And so what motivation interviewing and connecting with the person does, what you're doing is you're preventing them from using the right reflex. You're agreeing with them. You're saying, I see you as a person. I see you as an individual. And let's work together on a solution. Let's work together. And that's how I'm trying to train people on the floor and nurses, because it's not like when I go to my primary care doctor, I signed up for the appointment, so I want to hear the information. At the clinic is not like that. I'm there to get dialysis. I'm not there to get medical advice. I'm there for you to keep me alive. I'm not there for you to get a lecture on my fluid control. I'm not there to get reprimanded on that. I'm there for dialysis. And so that's why it's always good to connect with the person first before you, and you can use that in everyday life. I use that at the drive-through at McDonald's when the lady's frustrated because of something. Looks like you're upset. Do I need to go to the back of the line? How can we resolve the situation? I use it all the time. Looks like, sounds like, to identify with the person first. And so I even tell them, like, somebody told me, one nephrologist told me, I'm sorry. And after they messed up my weight loss surgery, and that brought me to tears. It wasn't even his fault, but he came in and told me I'm sorry, and it fixed so much in me. So I really focused on doing this training because trauma-informed care from a patient has a better impact. I've had over 15 major surgeries. I've been in dialysis for over 20 years. I've had a transplant. There's really not a lot that I don't know about being sick in end-stage renal disease. And so hearing it from somebody who's been there, done that, it just sells better versus they can hire anybody off the street that's certified in trauma-informed care. They'll give them the basics, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it just hits different. So that's kind of like my new mission now. I'm doing a case study pilot with about 10 clinics now, and hopefully it goes through. And I'm really going to be able to use the data, be able to take it nationwide, and be able to use this training to really help out a lot of people. So at dialysis clinics.
I love it. I think it should go even beyond dialysis clinics because I was just thinking about how you're saying you use it in everyday life. And I think all of us can attest when you have chronic illness, the one thing that you run into when you meet people and they ask about your chronic illness is everybody has an opinion about it. And what they don't realize, like you said, as many things as you've been through, if somebody that doesn't connect with you first, and they're like, well, have you tried yoga? Have you tried echinacea? Have you tried whatever? But it's because they haven't connected with you. Because like in my case, if somebody says, well, they always think, oh, you're sick, echinacea every time. And I'm like, well, I have lupus. And so echinacea actually helps trigger a flare with lupus because I already have an overactive immune system and I don't need help. But if they had connected first, that would be, and here's the thing, I think we can all attest too, if somebody is really connecting with you, even if they give you unsolicited advice, you can take it so much easier because you feel like it's out of love, not out of, I'm just telling you what I think you should do,
Yeah. I mean, I'll post a video about my transplant, and then somebody sends me about information, some weird doctor in Nigeria that found some root somewhere that has this magic thing that's curing all these people. Man, I don't want to hear that. And I almost lost my trainer over Herbalife. I'm like, bro, he said, but it's like natural stuff, but I can't have natural stuff. I can't eat bananas. I can't have too many oranges. I can't have grapefruits. It will kill me. So I don't care if it's natural. I almost lost a trainer because of that, because I'm like, man, it's just natural stuff. I don't know what the problem is. I can tell you what the problem is. It's going to kill me. So people just don't understand. They really don't get what the issue is, what the problems are. And I'm even working on a training. I think I started, I don't know if I said this while we're recording, but I'm even trying to take this into my churches, because that's why I wrote the book. I opened up the book talking about a story where I got finished preaching and a young lady came to me. I was talking about how I struggle with fluid control. And then I told her I don't have any kidneys. And she, with a straight face, said, have you ever thought about praying for healing? I'm like,
Never
no.
crossed my mind.
Never ever crossed my mind. And like you said, that's hard.
Wow.
And that's one of those ones too that you hope they're not saying that to everybody, because I think that the four of us have had enough of a discussion. Somebody could say that to us. People probably have said similar things to us already, and it's not gonna shake our testimony in Christ. But there are some people who are really just hanging by a thread and trying to figure things out, that those kind of remarks could really shake their testimony in some ways, So it's like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad, man.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Okay, so we want to know if our listeners want to know how they can find you, how they can connect with you, if they're interested in your training, how can people find you and get a hold of you?
Well, I have a brand new website, this new and shiny. It still has a new car smell, BrentButlerJr.com. There they can go and download the free ebooks, the Not Heal, Not Abandon. And they also can download 5 ways trauma shows up in dialysis patients. Now, that was more necessarily for like staff and nurses and medical professionals. I'm working on one for dialysis patients because I feel like I'm creating a talk that I want to do at some national kidney stuff. And so I'm probably going to turn that into like a little free giveaway as well. And so, yeah, they can always go to BrentButlerJr.com, and then there's you can, inquire about speaking if you want me to come to your dialysis clinic or to your church or whatever. You can go to that website and inquire about, me to come share my story with your people or whoever. So that's where you go to do that. And then through there, like, my Facebook link is on there. And of course I'm on TikTok and Facebook and all these things we need to be relevant, which I have a huge 1,000 followers.
You know what? You got to start somewhere. That's good.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty good. So, and I was going to say, you should be a speaker. You should be putting yourself out there to take all kinds of speaking positions. I think you have a really compelling story and a really cool take on it. Like, I mean, you're in a very positive headspace, and I'm sure you're not there all the time every day, but it is really cool to hear your experience and knowing what you're living with right now, still day to day. It's not like it's something that's in the past that you've overcome. This is something you're living with every day. And
right.
You're still turning to Christ for strength. You are still finding purpose in your life. You are still doing good things. Just really good story. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
And by God's grace, like I've been invited to speak at the American Nurses and Nephrology Association conference in September in Scottsdale, Arizona. So yeah, it's my first opportunity, man. Where they're going to buy my plane and they get a hotel. I'm probably going to take 1 million pictures and act super brand new.
Love it.
That's fantastic.
Love it. Yeah, that's going to be so much fun. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on and joining us. Thank you so much for your honesty. Hearing somebody say, I'm not healed, but I am not abandoned is a very powerful statement. I love the title of your book. I love that statement. I know that so many people wrestle silently with the idea that if healing hasn't come, maybe they've done something wrong. And what you remind us, Brent, is that the presence and healing are not the same, right? You can walk through a dark place and still not be alone. So if you're listening and you have ever questioned your faith because your body has changed and you're struggling, this episode is for you. You are not failing in your faith. You are walking through a valley. You are deeply loved. You are still called and you are still worthy. We will link Brent's ebooks and in our show notes so that you can access those and connect with him. And as always, thank you for being a part of Autoimmune Adventures community with us. We're honored to walk this journey with you. And remember, you are worthy of joy. Disease does not define your life. You do.